Yeah! Full disclosure, we're about to get nuts and a little sprinkle of weird. The Paradigm Shift, episode 18, with two of my favorite human beings on planet Earth. The iconic, big, bad, articulate alligator, David Meltzer, and one of my personal favorites, the beautiful and amazing Heather Monahan. Everyone's out today. Yeah! Jiggy! Dave Salto, love you so much, it's weird. Lori, Jesse, how you doing, girl? Alexandra, my two ladies, I love you so much. And McGowan, brain on, coffee ready. I see you, Big Dave. I see you. Nuts. You ready for me? I love you so much, it's weird.
It's weird.
What are you smiling at? Let's get nuts. Where are you?
I'm Big Bear up in the mountains.
Okay. You notice anything different about me?
You wearing a shirt?
I'm sitting down.
Oh, right. Me too. Me
We're
too.
going to do office hour vibes.
Yeah. It's a good vibe, though. So, how's the foot?
Did you hear the story or no?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Yeah, so it turns out I forced an MRI because it wasn't getting better. And I don't actually have a sprained ligament. I actually have a tumor on the bottom of my foot. I know.
A tumor?
I swear.
Jake's not to blame?
No. It caught me off guard. I was a little, what's up, Colleen, Jakey Bakey? Caught me off guard. I let myself feel it for a day, and then the very next day it was tactics and techniques. And I went to 2 doctors. I have another one on Monday. The bottom line is, Big Dave, it has to get taken out. I'm very blessed with the reframe. Had it not been for that injury, I wouldn't have gotten an MRI and we wouldn't have saw it. So here's what's going to happen. I want you to hold me accountable to this. We're going to do surgery next week. We're going to get that thing taken out. I'm going to be off my feet on crutches for a little bit. We're going to become a master of recovery. I'm going to embrace it. And then it looks like I'll be back in time. My first run will be the Chicago Marathon. Now, tell me that's not a cool story. Show up the day of with no prior runs for 3 months. I might not have my best time, but it'll be a hell of a journey, and it's going to create great content going forward for CLS.
Well, you run the race in your mind every day. You ever hear the story about the guy that he was a POW, prisoner of war, and he loved golf. And so every day he went through at his home golf course, every hole, and he played every hole every day that he was a prisoner of war for over 3 years. When he got out, he came home and he shot his best round ever.
I love that. Yeah. So we'll make the best of it. You ready to rock?
I'm ready to roll.
Okay. I'm a big advocate, and I think obsession is healthy as long as it's the right obsession, as long as it's the good things. But I know it's a little controversial. What are your thoughts on obsession?
Well, I think in varying degrees, right? Your quantum nature, everyone has DNA. And within the context of your quantum being, what you've inherited from your grandparents, great-grandparents, parents, etc., even if you believe like me in past lives, well, everybody has personality traits that have been carried over. You have characteristics that have been. You also have obsessions and addictions that have been carried over. Now, the key to life is consistent, persistent pursuit. One of the ingredients is you have to be compulsive, be consistent and persistent. So I don't think it's anything but a necessity. I think where the nuance or the argument comes in is that people don't gear their obsessions towards positive behavior because obsessions work in negative behavior's favor. What do I mean by that? That when you have an obsession that's negative, you don't see the results until farther down the line. When you have a positive obsession, you don't see results until farther down the line. Why is that such an important distinction? Because when we are creating positive behaviors or positive obsessions, we expect things quickly. When we have negative behavior and negative obsessions, we don't expect to have negative results ever. So if you're drinking and using drugs, it takes about 90% of the usage to eventually see some sort of result that you don't want. If you're doing something positive, the same thing. It takes about 90% of the effort to see any result. Now you can see why obsession is so crucial. To gear your obsessions towards positive behavior, negative behavior's favor.
Ooh, My goodness, he's got gold today. Just because I'm sitting down doesn't mean I have any less energy. Woo! I love it. We'll do one more and then we'll bring on our special guest. In the meantime, let's engage with the audience a little bit. We need a good nickname for the beautiful and amazing Heather nickname. Someone drop in the comments a great adjective that starts with the letter H. Dave, when I come visit you,
I call her, she's honest Heather. I know you don't have the hard H sound, but she's the most honest, you know.
Fair enough. When I come visit you, aside the many things of the reason that I'm obsessed with you, one of the things that I see that you do so well is be a leader for your amazing team. Talk about what that means to you and how important it is to build a very successful empire.
Yeah, well, you need a culture, right? So you have to know your own values and make sure that you articulate like an alligator those values to your team, and then give them the daily practices in order to effectuate those values. You also have to be an intelligent follower, meaning that everybody needs different things. Just like being a parent, everybody needs different things, and you need to make sure that you're pushing people who can be pushed. You're giving positive reinforcement to those that you also are perturbating people. You should read Marshall Thurber's Social Deviance. And the concept of perturbation is there's certain things, and I don't know if you're on set yet, but at the very beginning, we were not staying on time. And you had people like Cameron Diaz and Tillman Fertitta waiting, right? And that's not why I have them on my show. I have them on the show so they, like you, will come on the show and say, oh my God, I want to go back. They're so professional. They're dialed in. So I perturbated everyone, right? I purposely raised my voice. Jakey Bakey was the victim of the perturbation, but he's already given me permission to perturbate him because I ask him all the time, if it's hard, right? Because I'm a mentor, I'm a coach. I'm supposed to bring the most out of Jakey Bakey, but I sometimes will perturbate quietly, but a lot of times I'll do it loudly so that those people that don't want or need the negative perturbation, you know, like, we got to be on time. Make sure you tell me what time it is, what time it starts, what time it's supposed to be. You know, everybody's hearing it. And through the explanation loudly, everybody gets the message. And you know what? We got so many compliments for how professional and efficient and productive our group was, from those great names, you know, from Apollo Ono to Vivek, the owner of Sacramento Kings, to, you know, Ed, you know, not Ed, all your boys, Clinton and Ja Rule and Jay, all the guys that you love. Anyway.
Speaking of Clinton, we're an episode late. Speaking of the paradigm shift, I keep rewatching the video of me and you losing our minds. It's hilarious. But just to attest to what you just said, I agree with everything, and that starts at the top, which is you. And just seeing you around your squad, like Colleen, Jakey Bakey, Justin, Mike, Jesus, and all of them, the way that they listen to you and respect you is a credit to how you communicate with them. And sometimes I'm sure you give them constructive criticism, but you do it in a way that makes them want to get better and improve. So kudos to you.
You know, most of the time people watch you. So like your children and your employees, they'll watch you and they'll give you more credibility, a lot more slack if you're putting in, if you're the guy taking the trash, if you're the one in, the last one to leave. Those are the things that make the difference.
100%. Let's bring on the headstrong, healthy, hungry Heather Monahan. And for the audience, we're going to start engaging. We're going to take one question from the audience at the end. So please ask a good question. We'll pin it to the bottom, and we will answer it. Oh, we're getting Heather on right now. She's definitely going to come in firing on all cylinders. Yeah!
Hi, guys.
There she is.
Wait, did you get my text? I'm like, I'm a disaster, but I will be there.
Why are you a disaster?
Okay, because I just listened to Dave go on a rant about, like, no alcohol, no drugs. Well, last night, I never go out, you guys, ever. I'm so lame. I went out last night. Two of my best friends from Worcester, Mass, flew in. I mean, I hung out with them when I was 14, right? They're at the one hotel right down the street, and we hung out for 4 hours last night, and I am a hot mess right now.
You were going in?
Oh, it was, but you know what was so cool? Like, and this is why, Dave, I'll say, like, I disagree with you. I'm glad I went and did that last night. Here's why. That's so out of the norm for me, right? Like, I don't party. I used to when I was younger, but not now. Like, I don't party all the time and stuff like that. However, I walked in there. They were already a hot mess. And the minute they saw me, one of my dearest friends said to me, "Why are you single?" And no one talks to me like that, right? Like, it was kind of like a cool moment that no one would ever say that to me. And he made me like pump the brakes and say, "I don't know." And he's like, "No, we need to get into this right now, Heather." And I'm like, "All right, order me a wine. Let's go." And we got into this whole conversation that we would have never had if they weren't a complete disaster. So it all worked out.
Don't misinterpret me. We were talking about obsessions, though. So I visit places. I just don't live there anymore. So I haven't quit partying. I just like to visit there. For that, it's the same reason I like hallucinogens, right? I like to visit a mindset that I can go revisit without the drugs. But I do like to participate in mushrooms. I'm going to do ayahuasca because it's for me. So.
That scares me. I'm afraid for you. Like, I want to talk to you about that because that's scary.
We'll have a three-way conversation with my shaman, you and me, so we can discuss the fears.
I'm afraid.
Let's dive right in. You guys ready for me?
No.
Heather, one of my favorite things about you, by the way, you were on fire in rare form this week in the CLS membership. Everyone's still buzzing about it. You have 25 new diehard fans. They love you. You always talk about how persistent, no, stepping stone to where you want to go. Do you personally associate pleasure to the word no?
No, no one wants to be told no. Are you mental? Like, no. However, my whole life, like, I've been in sales since I was 10 years old and I had a paper route, right? People told me, "No, I don't want you to deliver a paper." But that can't stop you, right? The thing is, life is about sales, number one. Whether you realize it or not, you're in sales. Everyone is in sales. In any exchange, you are either sold or you're selling someone else. So when you start embracing that, right, and like, "Oh, okay, this is just part of the process." No is part of the process. I don't like being told no. I wish in my life everyone told me yes every day. They don't. And it's sad. They should. However, they don't. And so you have to embrace it like, "Oh, this is part of the process to get me to the one yes," and stay focused on the yes.
Love that. Get her, Dave. Get her.
No, I told you she's as honest, Heather. Anyway, for me, I don't like no at all, but it is an indicator to me that I have a better place to be. So Steve Hertz wrote a book, Don't Take Yes for an Answer, which evolves from being an agent, that if you continually hear yes, you're not pressing them or being more interested to find where you can get better to a better situation, et cetera. I hate no. And the reason I hate no is that means I got a lot of work to do in order to figure out a better situation, a better place to be. But I do know that when I receive no, that I'm one step closer to being better. And I love no for that reason, that I know I'm one step closer to getting better, but I hate hearing it.
Understood. Get her, Dave. Ask her one.
Oh my gosh. So the reason I love Heather is it's the whole basis why and how I teach people to build their brand is she knows her frequency. And I think it's funny that people ask, why are you single? Because I asked myself the same thing, and I thought it was just a conscious choice that, I don't need anyone else to be with. I'll just visit there when I want to visit there. I don't want to, right? I just figured that because Heather knows her frequency. How long did it take you, Heather, to find your frequency where you were okay with people loving you and people hating what you say, or, you're not in the middle, you're not water, right? You're like this beautiful tasting wine that some people are like, "This is the best wine ever," or, "You know what, I don't like that wine." And it took me a long, long time. When I met you the first time, I'm like, I want to be like her. Like, I'm such a wimp. She's so frequency based. This is the person, she like straight up just calls it like it is. And she is who she is. And I know you can still be more and reveal more, but how do you do that, and how long did it take?
Oh, you're so sweet. Like, first of all, I just want to say for everyone, this is just straight up truth. Like, when I went to Dave's office, the first time I met him, what he was just referencing, like, there is a vibe there, like with Jake and those are my people. Like, immediately, you're in your, like, and it goes to what Dave always talks about frequency and whatnot, and like energy. And I don't know, I walked in there and I just felt at home. Like, I knew everyone there had my back. Like, I felt so positive. And guys, everyone listening right now, it's so critical to only be with people like that. The more you curate the people in your circle, like the more positive and the more powerful you're going to be. Like you have to, and I didn't know this for a lot of time in my life until just 3 years ago when I got fired. I was around people who didn't want me to succeed. They didn't want me to shine my light. And I thought that was normal. I was like, well, this is, kind of how it is in life, and life is hard and whatever. And listen, my life is still hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but I make different choices today, right? Like I choose to be around people like Dave and Craig that like have my back and would do anything for me. And like the energy is like on point. And I just think that the biggest change I made in my life was getting rid of those people who didn't genuinely support. Because some people will be like, oh yeah, I'm cheering you on, but they're full of it and they're not. And those are the people. Get rid of those people in your life. And the sooner you get rid of negative type, like people who really aren't in your, they don't really have your back, the more you're going to start stepping into your power, your frequency, as Dave says.
I love that. And Dave, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say it's a really important point too, Heather, that you make, that is one of the extended ways that I evaluate frequency is that, if I'm talking to someone, we share a good friend like Jason Waller, and he like goes off to me about bragging about Heather. And at the very beginning, because I was deciding whether or not, because he comes across a little differently with his brand, like Craig, I want to be my Ed McMahon, my ride or die on office hours. And he just bragged about how much he loves Heather and this about Heather. And I'm like, okay. He has the same frequency. Where I had another guy come out, and there's a person, I won't mention their name, they're just not on the same vibration that I am. They're a lower frequency. And we went to dinner, and he said, what do you think about so? I said, I don't think about them. That's usually my positive line of saying they're not on my frequency. Yeah. I'm not going to give them any energy. And he goes, and he goes, I don't like to say negative things, but this. And I'm like, I love this guy. He doesn't want to be around that energy either. So I think it's important you can use other people as an indicator of the frequency to allow them into that circle so that you can elevate yourself by elevating them as well.
And David Nurse is one of those people, like he's just a random person that popped in my life. And just like what you're saying with Jason Waller, I'm like obsessed with his energy, obsessed with him. And immediately we started talking about you and Jason and like all these people we have in this commonality of like good people stick together.
You guys are the best. I'm going to take a quote from Heather's first book. And one of the reasons why I love you two so much is because, number one, you guys are my friends. Like, you're my new people, like, in my new life, this version of Craig. But also, I'm such huge fans of you guys, and I respect you.
This version of Craig wears a shirt now, Heather.
Thank God for that. Nicely done, David.
Wait, tell her why I'm wearing one. Tell her why I'm wearing one.
Because you don't want to embarrass me?
Because you suggested. What I was going to say is, not only do I love you guys, but I respect you so much. I read Heather's first book, and she talks about every single day, she gives herself one new challenge. I want to put both of you on the spot right now. I want you guys to tell the audience what your number one challenge is for today.
That's easy for me. I have 5 daily practices, and I forget every goddamn lesson I've ever learned, including gratitude. So I challenge myself every day to execute on what I know, what I've learned. And to do that, I pray for 10 people that I can help and 10 people that can help me.
Like, you make me look bad. Like, what the heck?
Oh, possible. Even if you took off your hat, I'm not going to make you look bad.
Listen, that's like, I don't know, you're at another level, like goals. Okay. So that's why I surround myself with people ahead of me, so I have something to strive for. Truly. Like, I mean this, guys. Because this is what I'm thinking, which is going to make everyone laugh. Like, okay, what my one goal would be for today is based off of last night, like being with my besties from home and like having them call me out. I'm like, this is what I was thinking about today. And this is so selfish and like lame, but I'm like, should I go on a dating app? Like, should I like push myself out there to start dating people? This is the personal challenge. And I'm not kidding. Like, this is really what I've been thinking about all morning, because I don't think things happen by chance. Like, that conversation happened for a reason last night, right? Like they're pushing me into a situation I need to push myself into that I haven't yet. And then also, P.S., I don't have the best relationship with my mother from my childhood, whatever. My mom sent me a text that she's coming into town. And My son's at camp right now for 2 more weeks, and I have a call with him every morning for 30 minutes at 8:30 a.m. And I'm on the phone with him this morning, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I'm posting this morning to tell you something." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, I am going to dinner with your grandmother, and you're not going to be here, and it's happening Monday." And he's like, "Oh, Mom, how are you doing that?" I'm like, "Because I want to show up as the person I want you to be when you grow up, and this is the right thing to do. It's not the easy thing to do, but I'm going to do it." And I like felt so proud of myself after I got off the call, because I always, and David, you know this, like, we want to be the people we want our kids to be. And oftentimes I make the wrong decision, you know, like I don't do everything perfect. But this morning I felt like I'm so proud of me. Like I did the right thing, and I'm going to go to the dinner, even though it's not easy, because I want to show up. And that is a challenge. Like I want to show up and be the person I want him to be when he grows up.
Let me give you some super Meltzer mentoring, because this changed my life with my relationship with my mom. It's the best advice I give to anyone that's a child. Your parents only want 4 things from you. Although they project themselves in different ways and tell you different ways of doing it, they only want 4 things. So every day I call, text, or email my mom every day without missing. And I tell her 4 things. Mom, I just want you to know that I'm healthy. 2, Mom, I am so happy. 3, I appreciate you for that. And 4, I love you. Those 4 things, I get choked up saying them because they change. My mom stopped giving me BS to do. Like she would say, "You got to come down here and fix my screen door." I'm like, "I'll hire someone to no, you got to do it." And I couldn't understand what was going on. Once she became secure in the fact how happy I am and healthy and how much I appreciate her, meaning she added so much value to my life that I am happy and healthy and I do love her. And of course, forgiveness is always in my heart when it comes to parents, and we have to forgive ourselves too. But if you can just start that practice, you know, it will change the energy in the relationship in such a way that you will be calling me and thanking me.
But you know, like, Dave, sometimes it's hard to forgive. It's not like, I wish it was just like I flip a switch and then I want to do that, but it's like I still hold on to, you know, upset and pain, and it's like it's a process.
Let it go.
Yeah.
And in regards to the single stuff, I just want you to know personally, I think you're the best catch there is in the world.
I do too.
Don't let those people get in your head too much. It's one thing to put yourself out there, but don't settle. You are very special. You deserve absolutely the best.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree.
I wish I had any friends that were quality. I'd introduce you to them.
Dave, I want you guys to have the best weekend ever. You want to leave the audience with one final gem?
Always be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Life is not that difficult. Have fun and enjoy yourself. I love both of you. Heather, special kiss for you.
Love you guys. My phone's dropping.
Love you guys. Have an amazing weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Heather. Too much fun. Paradigm Shift episode 18 in the books. All right. You guys heard the story. The setup is simply the comeback. That's all we're focusing on now. I love you guys so much. Show up in the Access weekend. Have fun. And just understand one thing. I want to be very vulnerable with my story right now with my foot. It ain't even a setback. It's the setup. And it's going to help me learn a lot about myself. Not only physically for the recovery, but mentally. So, what's up, big bro? Love you so much. You better work out today. Everyone say hello to my big brother, Mark, my best friend in the whole world. I can't wait for this foot injury to unveil itself. What's up, Carrie, Rach? And I'm excited to go through the process. I will embrace recovery. I will embrace the state of the mind that comes up and down with the emotions. And we will 100% shock the world. Whether it be in Chicago or the next race, it is what it is. This is what life's all about. No one's life goes like this. There's peaks and valleys, but it's about how you get back up and how that builds your mental toughness. And I can tell you right now, I have my moments, but right now I'm excited about this. My mindset is absolutely bulletproof. And my number one focus right now is to become a master of recovery. I love you all so much. Look yourselves in the mirror before you start the day and say, why not you? Big Dave Santa, love you. Love you all so much. And if you're not in the CLS membership already, what are you waiting for? Heather was just a guest speaker this week. Love you.